Hey guys, it's the WalterFootball.com After Dark Show for August 8th, 2024. We're going to be doing another fantasy football mock draft. This is 12-team standard, and we're going to be doing it on the site called Sleeper.com. We've been doing it on Fantasy Football Calculator for like the last decade or so, but we've had a lot of issues this year, and frankly, the AI has been terrible. Taking in one draft, it took 4 quarterbacks in a row. So I thought we'd try this, and I don't think we're going to get any bots. So I posted the link. There are 2 more spots left. I posted the link on Twitter. So we're going to get this started as soon as we're full and as soon as I intro. So please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. As you can see here, we have a lot of t-shirts, and as you can see on the screen here, I am wearing an August's Gluttony Month t-shirt. So you can get one here for only $17.25. It was $19 over the weekend. So we're getting a great discount. Despite the Kamala crash, we're getting a really high quality t-shirt for $17.25. And you could really let your friends and even enemies know that August is Gluttony Month, and gluttony rights are human rights. Very important message that we have to spread here. Kenny always says he's trying to make the world a better place. I think this is a great way to start. So you can get this t-shirt here on the Walter Football merch store. That would help us out a lot. Also, super chats, super stickers is another great way. We had a great super chat yesterday from Germ, also recently from Slew, Degeneron, John Sanders, and Kevin Kovac. You guys have been so awesome. Very gracious with your contributions, just really helping at the show a lot. So YouTube ads pay nothing, so I say that all the time. We can just go out and looking for change on the street and do better revenue wise. So your guys' contributions are so awesome. Also, you can go to Amazon.com, get my book. It's called Jerks of the College Years. It's for $13.99. I have a ton of stories in here from my college years. So if you like Jerks of the Week on WalterFootball.com, you'll like Jerks of the College Years. It's basically the same thing, just from my 6 years at Penn State. So without further ado, we have Kenny Ortiz making his triumphant return. The owner of thecapIsFake.com. Kenny, how's it going?
Bro, I am life is great. I am feeling a little under the weather, so I apologize if I am sniffly a bit. I decided to, but I'm a man of the people. Listen, I was out last week and I had work responsibilities, and but I can't be out 2 weeks in a row. So it doesn't matter whether I have a cold or the flu or the kung flu. Doesn't matter what it is. I am required to be. I am required to be here with you and the people.
Yes, I'm glad you're on. So we have a full room here. I don't know. It says I assumed it would just be could do mock drafts. Is that it? I don't know. So this new
I've never used this software, so I don't know. I don't know what.
Yeah, is this? Am I in the right spot? I have no idea what I'm doing here. So. I don't know. Hopefully, everyone's been recommending this to me. Maybe I don't know. I tried to set this up properly. So we still have our 12 in here. Do I just set the time? I guess I do, right? Wait, so what is it? 11:50? Should we start at 11:52 or something?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Oh, randomized draft order. Okay, I'm second, I guess. So let's see here. Am I doing this right? Let's see. Yeah, I guess
is it a 10-player team or is it 12?
It's 12. It's 12. Okay, it didn't save.
I'm the 12. I got the last pick. Okay, got it.
Okay, save draft time. Save draft time. I don't know if anyone's all right. Walt, to go to mock draft, start new mock draft. Then look for the option to copy link, invite link. So I don't know what's happening here. So I'm setting a start time. Why isn't this working? It just keeps going back to 7:30. Do mock drafts. Hold on. You have to set it up as an actual league for the future and create a mock draft and invite people. That's what I was doing. Are we gonna do any best ball drafts? Yeah, we might do a best ball draft at some point.
I've been doing best ball drafts on DraftKings, actually.
All right, have you? Isn't it too early? Like, isn't stuff going to change? I don't understand that. Like, why are people doing it so early?
Because we're all addicts. That's why.
I don't get it. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to wait till like the preseason's over.
No, because I want to draft. Because I'm addicted to drafting. Good.
All right, click mock drafts on the left. All right, okay, mock drafts.
Walter, tell me we're irrational. Come on.
To do new mock draft, right? Is that it? And start draft. Is that it? Yeah. So no, this is not it. Like this is random people. So, pre-draft, start draft, right? No. Okay, not it either. It's ridiculous. So why can't it just start a draft? I don't understand what's happening here. Mock drafts, right? And draft. What with link? Don't hit start draft. Okay.
How many people does it take to get the mock drafts going?
I don't know. I assumed I could just like when it was full, I could start a draft. Then click the settings option in the top right corner. This. Okay. No, this is 10 team. What the hell? What is happening here?
Do you have two different ones?
Yeah. Let's see. Then settings. Click the settings. Say new mock draft and click the settings. This is what Shark Week is saying. All right. Okay, mock drafts. New mock drafts. Then he said click the settings. Where the hell are the settings? Here. Copy, invite, link. Share it with friends. So, okay, so what I did before was kind of useless. Link copied. So, all right, so I will copy it in here. Kenny, you should probably get on this.
Okay.
Well, if you're not on this, then I will email it to you as well. So, okay, I think we figured it out. Maybe if other people start joining, then yes, then we'll see it. Okay, Brett is coming in. All right, cool. We finally figured it out, but we got to get Kenny in here. So if Kenny is not in, we have to start this over.
All right, here we go. I see the link there.
Okay, it's still 15 rounds.
Am I in?
I'm looking for you. I don't see you.
I clicked on the link.
That I just emailed you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
it doesn't let me join.
Really?
No. Like I just click the link and it goes to a draft board, but it doesn't actually let me select anything. Am I doing something wrong?
Which link are you doing? The one in the chat?
Yeah, no. What you just sent me a link by email. I clicked on it, and it doesn't let me do anything.
Vegas says, "Yeah, I'm in the same position as Kenny." We still have spots open too. I don't understand why it's not letting you.
Yeah, it won't let me join for some reason. It's just taking me to a draft board. It's not actually doing anything. Yeah. Sorry, whoever recommended the software. I gotta say, guys, your opinion is instantly gone down in my book. Sorry, guys.
Sorry. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's fantasy football calculator has been pretty rough. But I don't understand why you can't get in. Maybe I'll copy invite link.
It says my number. I mean, yeah.
Is it because you are in the other mock draft?
No, I mean I'm out of that. I closed out of that.
He joined the Bagley says he joined the last room as Cap is fake. So,
I did. But I'm clicking the link and it's just taking me to. I mean, it's taking me to a page, but it's not doing anything. It's just taking me to the draft board.
I'll resend the link to you. I'll re-email the link to you. Okay. So what's going on here? It looks like we're the same spot. It looks like we have still 4 spots open. So I just resent it. Maybe it's the wrong link.
I just opened that same link. I clicked it, and it's not doing anything. It just sends me to the draft board. So I can see the draft board. I can see that there's 4 spots open. 3, 7, 9 is open.
Yeah.
But it's not letting me actually do anything.
It's so weird.
Yep. So
I don't understand. Does anyone have any recommendations for Kenny? Because Cassandra says I'm having the same issue. Bagley did as well. Do you guys have, if guys are familiar with this, any idea like why that's not working for Kenny and Cassandra and Bagley? Mega says claim a spot.
It's not intuitive to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. I don't know. 90% through a PhD program, but maybe I'm an idiot.
Dick says claim a spot.
I clicked the link and it doesn't let me click there's no claim a spot. There's no there's no button that says claim a spot. Like I click on the 1.9, I clicked on the 1.3.
Yeah,
it doesn't do anything.
I mean, guys, we're both of us are on a PC here. Like, is this ad blocker maybe? And then phone is much more accessible, but like we both have to do this on computer. So, Kid No Name says I'm in the same boat. No button to claim spot to do anything other than view the draft board. And then Cassandra says it's not an ad blocker issue. I'm using Sleeper 2 minutes ago. Bagley says I'm not using ad blocker, and Kid No Name says the same thing. This is, I don't know. This is too many people having issues. If it was just like 1 or 2 people, then it'd be like, okay, maybe it's on them. But it feels like at least 6 people are like, you just can't claim a spot. So maybe we should go to ESPN or maybe try. I don't want to do fantasy football calculator after so many issues. Is ESPN? I haven't used ESPN in a long time. Johnson's just switched to fantasy football calculator. Yeah, back to FFC we go. All right. So this, I don't know. This, I guess this looked promising, but people can't get in. I don't know what to say. Like, this is, again, it's not 1 or 2 people. This is like 6 or 7 people who can't get in. All right. So
I don't understand.
Yeah, let's go to fantasy football calculator. The people just can't get in. So, all right, fantasy football calculator. That's a shame because I was hoping to start something new here. I thought it'd be good, but if so many people are having issues, then it just sucks. All right, let me know when you're there. Fantasy football calculator. We'll do non PPR because that's what we do. And I know you hate PPR.
Yeah, because it sucks.
So we'll wait for the next 12 room to open up. So like a 10 room just opened up. So. That's a shame. I don't know. All right, a 10 room just opened up. I'm going to try room 9 here. All right, I'm in. So hopefully this runs smoothly. All right. So
what's the number there?
Sorry, I should have told. It's the latest 12 roomer that opened up. 1506-8726. I'm going to post it here.
There it is. I see it. What position are you going to take?
I'm in 9.
All right, I'll go 4.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, you're in 5.
Or 5. Oh, because I can't count apparently. All right.
All right.
I don't know how to use technology, and I don't know how to count. So.
Well, at least we got into a room.
But I'm a man of the people. I'm here for everyone. I'm here to serve.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll find something better. Like if this keeps screwing up, but of course it will.
I mean, maybe there's a better way to send the link. Maybe there's a better way to utilize sleeper.com. We just don't know how to do it. So maybe take a moment.
Maybe, but still, Oh wow, we have a full room except for two. Well now it's full. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, we got a full room. We have 7 minutes to go. Always remember to, if you want high drafted players, and then of course play alert notifications so you don't miss your draft pick because you only have 45 seconds on here. Yeah, I was yeah. Again, this sucks because I was so excited to use this. It looks smooth, from the screenshots I saw, and yeah, it just I mean, again, if it was only one person or two people who couldn't figure it out, it's like okay, it's on them. But like we had so many people be like, I can't get in. So it had to be something on there, and I'm sure maybe it's a mobile versus PC issue thing. But we're both recording it here, and it's better to record on PC. So it's not like I didn't want to ask you to go to mobile. It seems a little ridiculous. Jack said you should have tested beforehand, but I didn't like test with who though. I was like test with 11 random people. So. That's just best balls for communists. Yeah, that Ken says do best ball. He says best balls for communists. It's easy to figure out it's easy once you figure out the settings. I don't, but like people couldn't get in. I don't know what to say.
There's no settings. I would click the link and it just would take me. Anyway. Yeah. Also, Jack said we should test it beforehand. Listen, Jack, you're assuming that we are rational, reasonable people. Listen, stop with that nonsense, okay? A rational, reasonable person may have found a way to test it, but that's not who we are. That's ridiculous. If you want reasonable and rational, then you got to go somewhere else. This is for people who are crazy and wild and exciting and entertaining.
That's right. I think you're absolutely correct.
No one's ever said, oh, I dated that girl who was so rational and reasonable and organized and it was fun. No. It's the crazy woman that's fun. That's the one you want.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Jack says, Bagley says, but that's the thing. It did work for some people. So testing it wouldn't guarantee that it worked for everyone. Yeah, that was so weird that like people just didn't have that link or that button. Sleeper is good once you figure it out. That's what everyone's been saying. I was excited to try it, but if people can't get in, then
maybe we can figure out. Or maybe we just we just go crazy. We just randomly pick stuff. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah. Kenny, we have about 5 minutes until we start this. You weren't on last week, and I wanted to get your thoughts on the Rainmakers drama that unfolded. So take it away.
I mean, everyone knows we're both of us were big fans of Rainmakers, and it's a big bummer. It's a niche product. I didn't realize how niche it was. Only about 800,000 people globally were using Rainmakers, and DraftKings, their weekly contests, they get anywhere like regular between like 50 and 70 million users using their typical DFS. So it's a very small percentage of people. And then the sportsbook is exploded. Their sportsbook is really their big product. So it's a bummer. I think they did right by people in terms of financially compensating everyone properly, fairly. But it's a big bummer because I feel like one of the most fun things that we did was taken. I spent the better part of the last 6 months strategizing for the next couple of years, and so they compensated me for all the things I purchased. But it's like, well, what's really more valuable is that I got a chance to use the cards that I bought in the strategy I hope to deploy. That would have been much more valuable to me. Anyway, it's a bummer. Apparently, they broke the law, SEC regulations. They created a security, and they were selling basically equity in a joint venture without SEC licensing, which is federal law. And so maybe they should have checked with a lawyer before they. I don't know. It's like how do you get to that point where you have a multi-million-dollar enterprise, hundreds of millions of dollars involved, and you don't run it by a lawyer? Like what is that? I don't understand.
Well, it wasn't initially deemed a security as someone sued them because they lost money. It's like they lost like $1,400 on Rainmakers. I don't know how you lose money in Rainmakers, but no, he lost money in Rainmakers, so he sued them, and the court ruled that it was a security. Those cards were securities. So I guess they didn't know that beforehand, but
yeah, but like why don't I don't know. I asked. So I've been doing a little research, and I did ask a friend of mine who's an attorney. He works in a different type of law. He's not a finance lawyer. He did say and I explained it to him. He's like, yeah, he's like, I think a good lawyer would have very quickly said, hey, you're running the risk of this being seen as a security. Like he's like that he's like a good lawyer legal team, someone should have foresaw that. Like That should not have caught them by surprise. And the fact that a big multi-billion-dollar corporation like DraftKings got kind of caught off guard is just in the opinion of one lawyer, a level of incompetence that really just shouldn't happen. So, it's just a bummer. And I hope someone's able to reproduce it in a legal fashion. I have been doing some research and figure out how to do that, but it is a cumbersome process.
Yeah, I said that I texted you like 4 times that we should do our own rainmakers, and then you were finally like, that would be a very difficult undertaking. And then you said for my birthday you would look into it. So
I did. Now, launching NFTs is actually relatively simple. Well, you need a coder to develop it, but it's actually not a hard process. So I did learn that. It's the contest component that will make it a little more convoluted.
It's so weird because you don't pay to enter the contest. It's so strange that they would be deemed securities. I think it's just stupid.
So the way that the way the law was, or the way the court saw it, was that the entire marketplace and the set of contests, they see that as a joint venture, because your NFT is of no value unless it's entered into the contest, is what they're saying. And since you own equity, you now own equity in a joint venture, which is how the court deemed it. So you got to get someone with a Series 7 license to help. So it's a big bummer. In the grand scheme of life, there's not many people. Like 800,000 people is not a big number.
Right.
And I think DraftKings just said, let's just cut our losses and get out of this, which I guess I don't blame them, but it's a big bummer.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it was my favorite hobby, and it's just gone. And yeah, like you, I was strategizing for the year. All the stuff played out. Like I had like some legendary cards, some Rainmaker cards. Like I was gonna have like pretty good lineups, and it just sucks. And I was, even for the FedEx Cup playoffs, there's coming up after this weekend. I had that planned out. Like I had 2 like stacked teams, and it's just gone. So it sucks. Could at least wait until the FedEx Cup playoffs are over. So Dick, I don't know if you saw that message. You're trying to post a link to Sleeper here. If you send it to me, I'll send it out here, because he's trying to test it out to see if it works. But BV is on the clock. Yes, we are. I'm going to review all the teams at the end, unless they're on auto draft. So Christian McCaffrey goes number 1 overall. Kenny, what are your thoughts on McCaffrey? Because he has a calf strain now. Is that going to scare you off taking him number 1?
That wouldn't scare me. I mean, every player. I mean, if we get to a month from now, a week before the season or a couple days before the season, there's still an issue, then I might think it. But at this point, I'm not concerned about it.
Okay. I moved him out of the number 1 spot. I was already concerned about him. Like the big workload from last year, the long season, the fact that he's an aging player, Super Bowl loser, curse, the Madden curse, if you want to get into that. I'm not a big believer in that, but that's still something. And the offensive line is just really held together by Trent Williams, and who's old as well. So if he goes down, that's another issue. So I was like, there's so many downsides here. I'd rather go with someone younger like Bijan or Breece Hall. I think you can argue them over McCaffrey. So right now I have Breece Hall, Breece Lightning, number 1 in my fantasy football rankings. So I don't know how you think about that. But you're on the clock though. You took Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I'm taking Saquon here. I think he's the best player on the board, and I think you can make an argument for a receiver. I think you can make an argument for a Tyreek Hill or Jamar Chase who just win, or at least one other receiver that you can make an argument for in that spot. I want to get a running back in the first round, and I just unless I'm in the bottom of the first and every quality running back goes. But I think all things being equal, I prefer the running back over the receivers.
Okay, so where I am right now, some of the running backs are the better players, but there are only 2 good receivers, two elite receivers left, and there are a bunch of running backs I could take here. I think one of them's going to come back to me, so I'm going to go with AJ Brown. So we both have Eagles with our top pick. Jonathan Taylor is one of the running backs, so we'll see. I don't know. It's kind of an experiment to see if one of the running backs will come back to me. I'm pretty confident one of them will. Although, I mean, we do have some smart drafters in here, so maybe I shouldn't be too confident about that. Kyron, another one gone. Maybe they'll all be sniped. We'll see. I don't know. I don't have an issue here. Is this your first real mock draft, Kenny? Because I know you said you've been doing like best ball, but
yeah, actually, yeah, it is. This is my first non-best ball mock draft or draft of any kind. I've actually not done any mock drafts at all this year. I've just been doing best ball drafts on DraftKings, and so yeah, I'm just starting to think about kind of traditional season long stuff.
Okay. I found that that receiver is thinner than running back this year. I don't know if you saw the same thing on best ball, but I found that like I get to like round 5 or round 6, and I'm like, I don't mind these running backs too much. And then these receivers are like, it's like pretty bad. So all the top running backs, the one I thought maybe Josh Jacobs will come back to me. Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyron Williams, Jonathan Taylor, and Josh Jacobs were the 4 I was looking at. There's a 5th though. The top player left on my board. I know you don't like him very much, but he gets a ton of touches. So I think it'll be fine. It's Travis Etienne. And there's really no one to challenge him. It's a really talented offense. They're going to score a lot. Trevor Lawrence is injured last year, so they're going to be better. So that's kind of like worst case scenario. I wanted to see what would happen. So otherwise, like I think I would have gone Jonathan Taylor instead at 9, or Kyron Williams, and then or Gibbs. I forget who I had at the top. So then I would have been hoping for like Garrett Wilson to come back to me or Puka Nacua at receiver, because I don't want to go double running back given how thin receiver is. Like I want to come out of the first 2 rounds with 1 receiver, ideally. So
yeah, I guess I'm looking at what's available, and you're saying thin. I'm going. I feel much more comfortable in here looking right now at the next 10 to 12 receivers versus the next 10, 12 running backs. Maybe we'll get to round 4 or 5. I'll see how it feels at that point.
Okay. Well, I'm not in love with any of the receivers left except for 1. So you're up anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. How much time do I have? Make sure
20 seconds.
I don't clock out here. Yeah. I think the guy that I'm going to take here is it feels a little bit early, but I think Mike Evans is the guy I trust the most of what's left. But I can give you 7 or 8 guys in this spot that I probably kind of all rank similarly.
Yeah, but like these guys, I'm thinking like I like them end round 3, early round 4, like the guys who are left at receiver. I'm not dying to get anyone here at receiver.
I guess I feel the same with the running back too. I mean, I'm looking at the next 10, 12 running backs and going, I think a lot of these guys will be available in round 3 or 4 or 5, and I'm glad I'm getting there.
I totally agree, and so I'm not going to say anything until my 3rd pick is done. But the past, this is our 4th mock draft of the season. In every single mock draft, I look at the 3rd round, and I'm like, I don't want any of these guys. Like usually, maybe like 1 or 2, and I'm like, I feel way more comfortable taking them in the 4th round than the 3rd round, and we'll see how it plays out this time. But I'm always like these running backs and receivers in the 3rd round just aren't good. Like I don't know what's going on here. Like there's a great top tier, and then after that it just really drops off very quickly. I think after Puka Nacua, or I would put Pacheco in that range too. But yeah, it really drops off, I think. I don't know how you feel about that, but we'll see. Well, I mean, we'll see what the 3rd round picks are. So Deebo Samuel is the one other receiver, and I like him because first of all, the Brandon Ayuk trade that's about to happen, and also Christian McCaffrey, if he is injured. Remember that Deebo had a ton of carries before McCaffrey got there. So if McCaffrey's out, like suddenly Deebo's going to get all those carries again. So that's something to watch out for.
Sure, I agree.
Yeah. So I think yesterday we had in the 3rd round, we had like nothing but receivers. I think we had like 1 non-receiver in the 3rd round. So I'm kind of curious if that's going to happen again. But All right, so you're on the clock. DK Metcalf just went.
Yeah, DK is a guy that I would consider in this spot, but I don't love him here. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I I don't really love any of these guys, really. I mean, I'm like, kind of it's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm going to go Joe Mixon. I think he's the best player here, but I don't know. I mean, you can make it. I think both of my second round pick with Mike Evans and my third round pick Joe Mixon, I feel like I can make an argument for 7 or 8 guys, and I'm looking at a handful of guys thinking I think they're going to be there in the next round.
That is exactly the sentiment I had. The exact same thing, and I'm like, this third round sucks. Like they're all guys that want to take in the 4th round.
Yeah,
and I'm saying it now. I'm taking a quarterback because I usually don't like taking quarterbacks early, but maybe I shouldn't have said that because all 3 guys could take quarterbacks here. Like now I'm thinking maybe I can pass on them, but no, I'm going quarterback, and again, this is not something I do, and I think I'll go Mahomes usually because he's my normal quarterback, but I have AJ Brown, so I'm going to stack Hurts with AJ Brown.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is what I'm going to do because this 3rd round sucks, and I think this is the time to take quarterback. Because like all these guys, I'm like I want these guys in the 4th round, and like it's going to be similar caliber player in the 4th round. So this is give me my strategy. I don't know if you disagree with it, but and I know you're one to wait on quarterbacks, but I think this is a unique year where it's just like this 3rd round is just like barren of just like 3rd round quality players. Like these, except for like Debo, we'll get into all these 3rd rounders once the 3rd round's over. But like all these guys, I'm like, 4th round. These guys look like 4th rounders to me.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, it is interesting then, where I'm picking here in the 5th round. I don't want to be picking in the 5th or the 5th spot. I want to be picking like where I think the soft spots in the draft is right in the middle of the rounds. I think you might be better off either early in the 1st round or very late in the 1st round. I think you're going to have maybe some better luck.
I had the number 2 pick and the number 3 pick in 2 of the drafts, and I had severe difficulty at the end of the 2nd round, just finding someone I wanted. So my preference is late. I'm in a PPR league with Austin Kelly from Arizona. Some of you guys might know the name. She's good. She said she's going to be on one of our mock drafts next week, so looking forward to that. But she's so in her league, we get to pick our spot like based on the order in which you finished last year, reverse order. And so I had the opportunity to choose whatever I wanted, and I chose number 10, just because I thought that like in the 2nd round you're guaranteed almost like a tier 1 or tier 2 guy. And then once you get to the middle or the late 2nd round, like the talent level just really drops off. All right, so I'm up again. I feel like I'm going to take all players that you don't like. Let's see here. Let's make sure he's still available. He is. So my guy here is going to be James Conner. Just love the way he finished last year. He was amazing down the stretch. Actually, not picking him in DraftKings, so I had him initially. Picking Zamir White over him cost me about $60,000, which is still pretty painful. Mahomes mid 4th round's a steal. So you're up again. No, I like Conner. So what are you doing here?
The best player I've got available here is a guy that I probably should not take because it would not make my starting. I'm going to go with the guy that I have 2nd best here. Yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to draft here. I'm going to go Aaron Jones here because I want to have a 3rd quality running back for my mixing in and as well as potential starter as well as a flex spot. I'm assuming there's a flex spot here. I'm always drafting assuming a flex spot, but yeah, and again, a similar situation. I'm looking at the receivers going, I think I got 7 to 10 guys here that are all about the same, and I'm pretty sure a couple of them will be available when I come back around. So
I like Aaron Jones. He's the guy I had after James Conner on my board. So a big fan of that pick. Kenny, I just emailed you. I just forwarded you the link that Dick Togo sent to sleeper.com. So if you want to try that, because I saw the claim buttons. It was there for me. So if you want to look at it. So while you do that, we have past few pick. T. Higgins went earlier than we've been seeing. I've been seeing him 6th, 7th round.
I now see the claim buttons on this link, by the way.
You do? Okay. So interesting. All right. Maybe we'll do that next time. Maybe it was just I did something stupid, or like someone saying I had a start time. Maybe that was it. Or people were already in the other league and couldn't come in. I don't know. But we'll try that on maybe tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to be doing a draft tomorrow, so maybe we'll try that then. New York Giants thinks this is a kindergarten league. He says, bro, Aaron Jones. I like Aaron Jones. Why not? The only issue with Aaron Jones is his durability. But otherwise, I feel like he's a good player. I don't quite know what the issue is there in New York Giants. But I'm sure Kenny has something to say about your team.
I don't have to say anything. I mean, the fact that you're a Giants fan is you walk around with a painful soul. I mean, I feel sorry for you, actually, bro.
Well, let's see. I'm kind of curious about why he thinks it's a kindergarten league. Baggett says so much bigger drop off from round 2 to 5 at running back than receiver. So let's Christian Kirk just went. Is someone I had my eye on.
You know I'm a Kirk fan.
Yeah, you're up again right now.
It is interesting as I'm looking. I'm going to go Pickens here, and that now, depending on if Ayuk gets traded to the Steelers, maybe that would going to have to rethink about how I think about the Pickens. But, there are some running backs here that I'm okay with, actually. So there are, there's at least 3 running backs on the board that I would go. If I got one of those guys instead of Aaron Jones or Joe Mixon, I'd be okay with that. And so maybe spending that 3rd or 4th round pick on a receiver may actually be more valuable as they look. And so yeah, I think I'm starting to maybe see a little bit of a soft spot here in the 5th round.
Yeah, I am on the clock right now. I'm going to go with the receiver because there aren't that many good ones left. I'm going to finally stop taking players that you hate. I'm going to take Tank Dell. I know you like this guy, so maybe you'll have something positive to say about one of my picks.
I love him.
Yeah, I do too. I love Tank Dell. I think there's a good chance that he's the top receiver on the Texans this year. Everyone's saying it's like Nico Collins, but all of his production last year came after Dell got injured, and Stephon Diggs obviously wasn't on the team yet. So I don't know why people are expecting the same thing to happen again. I think that people who are drafting Collins before the other 2 Texan receivers may be upset. So we have a kid no name here to close out round 5. Let's look at the round 3 players and tell me who you like in round 3. So we have Chris Olave, who I think is probably end round 3 for me. Debo I like a lot just because I mentioned him before because of the McCaffrey stuff and the Brandon Ayuk potential trade. Then we get to Devontae Adams, who is an older player. I think he's 31 at this point. His quarterback, Gardner Minshew. DK Metcalf, whose offense may suck this year because, they just have a lot of issues. The 3 opposite linemen who are missing. Although Connor Williams being there kind of helps. Then we have Joe Mixon. You took him. I like Mixon, but I think you can get him later. His ADP is 4th round. Cooper Kupp, he's 31. Jalen Waddle, I like, but you have to deal with the Tua injury. Devon Achane is so brittle. He's going to get injured. And hold on, I'm on the clock right now, so let me make my pick. And you know what? My number 2 tight end is still here. And I just, again, I don't actually, no, you know what? I'm going to go with, I'm not going to go tight end.
That would be shocking to me.
No, I'm not going to go tight end. I kind of like some of the players there. I'm going to go Marquise Brown. He's never had a great passing quarterback. He's had 2 incredible rushing quarterbacks in Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray, but he's never had an elite passer like Mahomes. So kind of excited to see what he can do. And if I drafted Mahomes, I'd be extra excited to pair him with with this receiver. So anyway, what I was saying. So like Waddle, you have to worry about the 2 injury. Achan's so brittle. Then he gets to my pick. Then Kenneth Walker. I like Walker now more after Connor Williams was signed. I didn't like him a few days ago though. Like Connor Williams is one of the best run blocking linemen in the NFL. So like that's going to help Walker. Then we get to Rashad White, who in like non PPR is not that exciting, and then the quarterback. So like outside of the quarterback picks, like are you and maybe Debo, like are you excited about any of these players in the 3rd round?
I would be excited about Joe Mixon and Kenneth Walker. So you said Joe Mixon's ADP's 4th round. I don't know, maybe you're right, but ADP's all over the place. It always has been, and inevitably, if you try to get cute, I consider Joe Mixon in the 2nd round. I think he's a great player. I think he's significant. I think he's better than James Cook. I think he's better than Isaiah Pacheco. I think he's better than Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne. I mean, like I think he's better than multiple running backs going before him. So could I have gotten him to 4th round? Maybe, but I don't want to play the game. And I like Kenneth Walker. I think Kenneth Walker is just behind. I would prefer Walker over Achane. I'd prefer Walker over Travis Etienne, Derrick Henry, James Cook. So yeah, I like those guys there. I don't like any. You're right, but I agree with all the others. Devontae Adams, I guess, is okay. Debo, Olave, I love as a player, but I don't know what the situation is going to be. You got to rely on Derek Carr to be a reliable person week after week. I don't know. Like, it's like relying on Tyreek Hill to pay his alimony and child support. I mean, that's not going to happen. I don't want to rely on Derek Carr. Yuck. I love Olave though. I mean, I'd love to see him with a real quarterback. I think So yeah, I see what you're saying. I guess I just maybe have different evaluation on the running backs, and that maybe makes me feel significantly different about those guys.
Okay. Just I'm not in love with any of those guys, but I am excited though for the 2046 NFL draft because we're going to get a bunch of hills in the draft. actually thinking about doing my 2046 NFL mock draft right now and just having like Tyreek Hill Jr., then like Tywin Hill or Tyland Hill, and then like Tyrex Hill, like just having like Jamie Hill, because Hill, by the way, is the bastard name of the Westerlands in Game of Thrones. So just have like a bunch of like Lannister names for Hill. I just I was gonna do a joke like that. It'd be fun, but then I don't know how I'd come up with like 32 names. They'd all be Hill, obviously. Maybe like one guy like who's not.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. So CJ Stroud, I was shocked that he lasted this late, but yeah. But here we go again. Like this AI is so bad. 3 quarterbacks in a row, so we don't have to review team 2 here. It's I don't know. This is so stupid. Like how do they not fix this?
I thought this was all people who were with us. I didn't realize it was an AI.
Someone got booted. I think someone's saying Dick says, yeah, I got booted. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so that's what happens. Like someone just someone leaves and then it just goes an auto pick, and or like they miss their pick for 45 seconds and it just goes to stupid auto pick, and the computer AI can't figure out to take a second running back over the 3rd quarterback. It's just horrible. So we'll try sleeper next time tomorrow actually later today because it's after midnight. Yeah, we will definitely do that because I can't stand this AI. It's just like so unrealistic, and this is supposed to prepare us for our drafts. And if like obviously you're always gonna have like 1 or 2 dumb people in your league, but like this is ridiculous. Like 3 quarterbacks, that never happens. I mean, although we did have one guy who tried to pick Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense number 1 overall.
That's right. Never forget, Walt. Never forget.
No. Defense wins championships, of course.
Right.
You're up, Kenny.
All right. My man's on the board. Maybe 7th round, slightly before he should go, but I'm the president of the Jaylen Warren fan club, and so I feel great about my running back room. Barkley, Mixon, Jones, Warren. So depth and rotational pieces for flex position and bye weeks. And so, yeah, I feel great about that. I wonder, I'll have to go back and look back. Again, this is the first mock I've done. So Tony Pollard just went. So Tony Pollard's another one I would have considered in that spot.
Yeah, me too.
Brian Robinson Jr. didn't go, so he's another guy I would have considered that spot. Jonathan Brooks, I would not consider in that spot. The injury news is not looking great for him. Really bummer. But yeah, Jalen Warren, Tony Potter, Brian Robinson Jr. are all guys I would have taken all the three of those guys before DeAndre Swift or David Montgomery or Devin Singletary or Nick Chubb or Raheem Mostert or Najee Harris or Samir White. So I think I have a different evaluation of the running backs than maybe other guys do or what the market might have.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about the running backs this year. I mean, I think receiver is tougher to draft. I was considering George Kittle here in the 7th round, just because I think that any Niner is on the table, given the Aiyuk trade and potential McCaffrey injury. So I think Kittle could have a great year for that reason. But with Kittle, you always have to worry about the potential that he has to block, because if Trent Williams goes down, they have him blocking almost all the time. So that's that you can run into that issue during the season. Yeah. Tashi Spears, I considered him too.
Yep, he's another guy I considered in that spot. I just don't know what the role. I just don't feel confident that I can guesstimate what that role is going to be, what the split's going to be between the two of them. So it's hard to feel super confident there.
Oh yeah, it might just be 50-50. They might be on the field at the same time. So I feel like the offense is really just going to go through them and Ridley, especially with DeAndre Hopkins injured. Now he may not miss a lot of the season, but he's out for a month. So Godwin just went. I like him this year because he's being in the slot.
He was next. He was my next guy queued up.
Okay, so yeah, I am up. I'm going to go with a running back here, and hope I didn't miss him. Yeah, Chuba Hubbard. So we just saw Jonathan Brooks get taken. I like Hubbard quite a bit. He's going to be the starter. They said Brooks is not going to be available till week 4. So
Pup is in his potential.
Exactly. So and even when he returns, he's not going to be full go. So I like Hubbard a lot. I'm targeting him in 8th, 9th round. I think that he has some good potential, especially with the offensive line improving a lot. They added Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis to shore up their guards. Their guards were so bad last year, and they're going to be better. You're on the clock now.
Yep. So there's about 3 receivers here that I like, and I think they're all valuable here, and I'm not sure any of them are going to make it back to me. So I'm going to go with the one I basically I'm going with kind of older, 1, 2, 3 of my 4 receivers are kind of older, steady guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not maybe limited upside, but I think will be steady.
4 quarterbacks
is a wild card. What was that?
4 quarterbacks in a row for Team 2. as if 3 wasn't enough. You have to go with your 4th guy there.
Yeah, I wonder, is there a way to change the settings in a draft in this? I guess not. Maybe not.
No, it's not. No. This website, I feel used to be good, and they just never fixed it. And I've communicated with the creator of this website, a little bit in the past. If he was missing players, I'd email him. He said he reads the site, so I wanted to be nice. He seemed like a nice guy, but this, how do you do this? You have to have better coding than this.
Yeah,
it just makes me not want to use it. If I don't know, that's my main issue with this. Sometimes in the past they miss players. It feels like they shored that up. They have ridiculous players at the end. Someone drafted Kingsley Enagbare twice in yesterday's draft. He's a defensive end. He's not even a receiver, running back. He's a defensive end, and someone drafted him twice. So you're up now. After 2 tight ends just went.
So, yeah, Evan Ingram and Kyle Pitts. Evan Ingram, sorry, I think he sucks. I wouldn't want to touch him. I actually would consider Kyle Pitts in this spot here. And so, I'm looking at here, looking at the board. There's no player that I think is super great that's not going to make it back. So, I think I see some value at tight end here. So, I think I'm going to go tight end here. My next tight end here is Mr. Dallas Goedert. So I'm going to go him. Now, I am limiting my upside a bit if I got Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley in the same lineup. So that's not ideal. But I think Goddard's going to get a lot of catches, a lot of yards, and in the 9th round, I like him with some decent upside. So, I'm okay with my squad as is, and willing to go for tight end here. 9th round tight end is pretty high for me. Typically I don't look at tight end until about round 12 to 15, somewhere in that range. But why not? Why not reach in round 9?
I like Otter. I got him in the 11th round yesterday. I think that was incredible value, but I do like him around 9. It feels like he should go earlier than that. I'm going to go Ricky Pearsall, who really stands to benefit from the Ayuk trade. I mean, he talked about like deep
up here.
What? Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about guys who would benefit, like George Kittle, Debo. Like Pearsall is number 1. I mean, he's going to be the number 2 receiver on that team. They liked him enough to take him in the first round. So, kind of surprised that he's still going late. Now, maybe when that trade is official, we're going to see his ADP skyrocket. But right now, in the 9th round, I think that's a good bargain.
Yeah.
All right. So, I'm also looking at tight end. I suppose probably shouldn't be telling that to Dan, who doesn't have a tight end yet. But I do think there are some good ones on the board. You said you didn't like Evan Ingram. I was kind of surprised about that. Like with Calvin Ridley gone, I think that he will be getting more looks. And he actually had the 4th most receptions in the NFL last year. Like not among tight ends, just overall. Fourth most receptions. Why don't you like him?
Well, you forgot one thing is that I've seen him play. So that's the difference.
He does I feel like the one thing you could say about him is he doesn't catch touchdowns. But
I can say more than that.
Okay, well, what don't you like about him?
I just think he's a guy. I don't think he's ever been great. I mean, he's the prototypical great athlete that doesn't know how to play football. I mean, Kyle Pitts is the same guy. Great athlete, can't play football. No, you're on the clock. Sorry.
Yes, I'm going to take Jake Ferguson. So I feel like that. He's the number 2 receiver basically because they don't have one.
I mean, Miles Sanders is that guy, right? Great athlete, not a good football player. Tevin Coleman was that way. Great athlete, not a good football player. Like there are these guys who are just great athletes that just like they just seem to can't put it together. They just make dumb mistakes. So J.K. Dobbins just went. He was the next guy queued up. I thought taking the 10th, I was taking him early. I guess not. Yeah. And so here there's a couple guys that I really like in this range. I'm going to wait on quarterback, and I'm going to reach for a guy just because I want to talk about him. I don't know what Michael Wilson's ADP is, but I'm going back and watch some Arizona tape, which is because I hate myself and when I hurt myself. But this guy is really good. Michael Wilson is a really good player. He runs really good routes. He's got good hands. Like he's maybe not an excellent receiver, and maybe he's not like phenomenal on any one thing, but he's like very good at everything. And he's kind of like he's like a little bit of a slightly shiftier version of Keenan Allen. And so I think Michael Wilson is going to be a very good receiver in the league. And I don't know what that offense is going to be. I don't know if Kyler Murray is going to be good. I don't know, but I'm willing to take Michael Wilson. I don't know what his ADP is, so I may be reaching in the 10th round here, but I wanted to talk about him.
But Kenny, Jonathan Gannon said that Greg Dortch is going to have a great year. So how does that affect your opinion?
Well, I have lots of opinions about Jonathan Gannon. So
I think he's a good coach. I don't know. You're up anyway. So you're up again.
My opinions of Jonathan Gannon are he can. Yeah, I should keep my opinions to myself. No, I won't. Give me a second. One, two. Okay, I got 4. Somebody. Do I need a running back or receiver? Should I go quarterback here? Quarterback's lame. Let's go with another running back. I'm a little surprised this guy's still on the board because there's a lot of talk that Jaleel McLaughlin is going to be the guy in Denver. So
yeah.
Again, this offense may suck. I don't know if they're going to be good or not, but I kind of like him as a player. Maybe he'll just have to be the third down running back. But if he ends up being the starter, I think he's going to be a decent. I think he's going to be a decent player.
If we're wrong about Denver, then I think that's a great pick. If Denver is horrible, then then you're probably going to be cutting him, I think. So you're just gambling on how good you think Denver is going to be or how bad. I am up again. So I've been like up and down on this guy, Rico Dowdle. Just gonna take a shot on him. He might be Dallas's top running back. He may not be. I know that there's a clash here between Ferguson and Dowdle, but this is 10th, 11th round, so I'm not too concerned about that. If he ends up being the starting running back for the Cowboys, it's amazing value in the 11th round. It's not like I don't like running backs on bad teams, but Dallas is obviously not a bad team. I don't think they're a great team. I think they could take a step back this year, but Dowdle should be able to produce if given an opportunity. We just don't know yet. There's also a chance that Dallas' starting running back is not on the roster right now. They could trade for someone. Maybe they trade for Javonte Williams. Maybe they trade for Khalil Herbert. I can see them doing a move like that. But as of now, I think Dowdle should be the favorite to have the most touches. I know like Elliott's listed as the starter, but he's not going to get the bulk of the workload. And it could be a 50-50 split. So I'm just taking a shot here with Dowdle.
I think it could be a 50-50 split. I think they could just end up throwing so much that the running game just gets kind of left behind. I do think, though, it is highly likely that whoever ends up being the bulk carrying the bulk of the carries for the Cowboys is a guy not on the roster yet.
Yes, definitely. Jalen Wright is another guy I was looking at. So good pick here by Kid No Name. That was the other. If Dowdle went off the board, that's who I was going to draft. All right, so I'm up again. I need more running backs. So I will take a guy I think you like. It's not Khalil Herbert, but it's Roschon Johnson. I think Roschon Johnson is their second running back right now. I could be wrong about that, but he got the start over Khalil Herbert in the preseason. And I feel like, DeAndre Swift is going to be injured at some point. It's not if, it's when. And I could see it being as early as October. And like, what if they trade Khalil Herbert? Like, that's a possibility. They threw running backs, and like Herbert has had success in the past. Like, what if they trade him to Dallas, and then suddenly it's Swift and Roschon, and then Swift goes down in like week 4? Like, suddenly I have like an RB1, not fantasy RB1, like a fantasy RB2, but an RB1 on the real roster in the 12th round. Like, I think Roschon Johnson is someone that should be targeted there.
Yeah, I guess it's possible. Here I'm around 12. Maybe I look at quarterback at this point, but maybe not. What's the point? I think here's a guy that I really like as a sleeper here. I like Dotson a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
Dotson's a really good player, and so I think in the 12th round, I'm willing to take a shot there. If that offense is even somewhat competent from with Jaden Daniels at the helm, I think we're going to see Dotson be a significant contributor, and so I like that there. I hear what you're saying about Roschon Johnson. I just think Khalil Herbert's a significantly better player, and so I don't so you get the start. I don't know. I think it doesn't for whatever reason. Multiple coaching staffs now have looked at Khalil Herbert and decided to not rely on him, and I don't get it because I watch him play and think this guy is clearly better. He's not like a little bit better than Roschon Johnson. He's significantly better than Roschon Johnson. So I don't know. I don't get it. You might be right. Maybe Johnson becomes the guy there. Maybe Herbert's gone. Maybe Herbert's in the bench. Maybe he's in the doghouse. Maybe there's something behind the scenes we don't know about with Herbert. I don't know. But I've been touting Herbert for like 4 years, and it's never come to fruition. And maybe at some point I have to just kind of give it up. I don't know.
I think Herbert will be traded. I just had that feeling. I think they were showcasing him in the preseason. Like there's no reason to play him. Like Roschon's a second-year player, you could argue, yeah. But like Herbert's a veteran at this point. I think it's his 4th year, if I'm not mistaken. Like there's no reason to play him in the preseason, and they did. And I think they were trying to showcase him, maybe to Dallas, maybe to someone else. You never know. There could be an injury to running back. And so suddenly someone might have interest in Herbert. So that's what my thought process is. Like, this doesn't make sense to go into the season with both Johnson and Herbert behind DeAndre Swift. Like, you took Justin Herbert.
I got to take a quarterback at some point, I guess, right?
You're not concerned about the injury, the plantar fascia?
No, I mean, again, it's August 8th. I'm going to assume he's going to heal up and be fine. If we get to September 2nd and there's still significant issue, then obviously we would rethink that.
I listened to some medical experts, and they think that's going to be prevalent all year with him. It was like Matt Ryan had the same injury one year, and like he played like crap the entire year. He just couldn't push off or something. I don't know. I'd be worried about that. I'm gonna take Braylon Allen as my final sleeper, although I'm not gonna take a defense, but theoretically my final sleeper, Braylon Allen, the RB2 on the Jets, which is an attractive job as long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy. And they like Allen a lot, and he's a good catcher out of the backfield. Like, he can just take over for Breece Hall if Breece Hall goes down. I kind of like just stashing a player like that on my roster. So he can be used at the goal line. He's going to be used as a receiver out of the backfield. He's a tough runner. I think he's a good player to target here.
I gotta be honest, I've never seen him play. I never heard of him until about 4 days ago.
Okay.
So I'm sure it's an awesome pick.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so I'm up again. This guy off the board, I'm not seeing his name. No, Latimer off the board. Josh Downs available. He got hurt today. He's going to miss a month, but I think he'll be okay. Let's see here. Let me just go with the first receiver I see. Let's do a shout out to Marvin Mims. Why not? So we gave our eulogy
He's in my queue right now. Actually,
what'd you say?
He's in my queue.
Okay, yeah. Let's give a shout out to Marvin Mims. He's the receiver too on the Broncos, but they like him enough to take him in the second round last year. So maybe he does something this year. I hate Denver personally, so maybe this is not a pick I wouldn't make in real life. But we're just we eulogized the Rainmakers, and I had more Marvin Mims than I think anyone on the planet. So because I kept pulling him in prize packs. All right, you're up in round 14.
All right, I'm not going to take a kicker or defense because I don't care. This is an interesting character here. Jacoby Myers for the Raiders, he's been a decent player in his career, up and down to some extent. Obviously, he has some injuries, and who knows what the Raiders' offense is going to be and whether or not they can, really utilize him. The other guy that I was considering here that just went, T.J. Hawkinson as a tight end. I don't know what TJ's got, but if TJ Hawkinson is fully healthy and he comes back, round 14 is a steal. Now, obviously, coming back healthy, big question mark. That's remarkable value.
You know what? You kind of have me thinking here of Myers because, first of all, he's a good player, but second, Devontae Adams could be traded. I'm not really buying that, but there is a possibility that Adams is traded at some point. And if he is, suddenly Myers is the receiver one on that team. So you get a receiver one on a team I think is going to compete for the playoffs. That's a good pick in the 14th round. That's really strong. So I'm a big fan of that.
Thank you.
So yeah, you're about to be up after Sanders makes his final pick. Some people in chat were saying Pearsall has a shoulder injury. I saw some people say that yesterday. I looked yesterday, I didn't see anything. I looked today, I didn't see anything. And you're up. So maybe some people can enlighten me. I did a search and I've 2 searches. I found nothing on that. So maybe it was just a minor ding up, but it's not like he's gonna be out for a while, I mean, if he was gonna be out for a while, that'd have been all over the news.
Right.
So, all right. So yeah, who are you taking here at number 15?
I think realistically, this is where I might have taken a quarterback rather than the guy I took there. Okay, I've got
2 seconds.
I timed out. There we go.
Is that who you're going to take, Aaron Rodgers?
Oh yeah, I got him. I think what I really want to do is look at the quarterbacks that are still available, and any one of these guys could be valuable guys to rely on. By my count, you've got 4 guys that could still potentially be okay fantasy starters in round 15, and that's even with an AI taking 4 quarterbacks. So I think really, I'm sneezing over here. Hold on a second.
You're good. It's fine.
Anyway, I think I think it just shows in round 14, 15, 16, there's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 quarterbacks that I am okay with starting week 1.
Yeah, I think you can definitely get them late for sure. see. Okay. So I have to do this. I made this joke, forgive me. I made this joke 2 days ago. Kenny, I'm going to take Camden Lewis as my kicker. Why? Because the only silver lining that Rainmakers being over is that I no longer have to make my weekly trips to Trenton. But there is no Trenton Lewis. There's no Trenton anything, but there's Camden Lewis. So in honor of Rainmakers being done, I am going to draft Camden Lewis. And I think maybe the best pick is Delarin Turner Yell from Kid No Name at the end. So well done there. Better than my Camden Lewis, but I had to give one last shout out to Rainmakers. We had fun with our digital card thing, as John Sanders would say. Speaking of John Sanders, before we get to my team, John, I looked into running backs coming off torn Achilles, as I promised I would. I did it last night. Man, I'm telling you, it is bleak. It is so bleak. Like, these running backs who've had Achilles injuries, like, they've all fallen off. Like Arian Foster, gone. James Robinson, gone. Marlon Mack, gone. Like these guys are like out of the league within 2 years. And so, looking at J.K. Dobbins, who I like doing the research. 2 years removed from 20 ACL, coming back. But I can't find like a running back who's done well after a torn Achilles. With the one right? With the one exception being Deontay Foreman, but it took him a couple of years to get right, which is weird. If Foreman is the only exception, whereas like Arian Foster could not come back. Like they said, James Robinson, he used to be
Robinson was productive for half a season when he came back. I mean, he was okay.
His production was way low. I don't know, and they drafted ATN because I feel like they were done with him.
And he was a contributor that, and then they traded him.
Yeah, and he didn't do anything after that. Like, I don't know.
So he's not as bleak as the others. You're right. I think Robinson is maybe a little bit of an exception.
Maybe, I don't know. I think I should have taken Trenton Gill. Oh man, is he even there? I don't know. Is Trenton Gill there? He is. I screwed up. I should have taken Trenton Gill as punter. I messed up. I apologize. I did not realize that. All right. Dick says he faded fast. Yeah, he kind of disappeared very quickly after that. He had like you're right. Like half a year where he was decent, but then that was gone. That was it. Like he was done. And then John Sanders was right about the running backs because exactly. So I'm suddenly less bullish on J.K. Dobbins. Now, if he's there at 13th, 14th round, I'm willing to take a shot because he's the starting running back on a team that wants to run a lot. But I'm no longer going to consider him 8th, 9th round. You know what I mean? Like if he's there super late, fine. But I just don't know who else is going to run the ball in San Diego or San Angeles. Like you have Gus Edwards, who's just so mediocre. He sucks. Kamani Vidal, don't know anything about him. I haven't heard anything positive about him in training camp, and there's no one else. So maybe you can make a very late round exception for Dobbins, but man, I don't have him on my sleepers page anymore. So
I would like in a typical standard league, in my mind, I thought I would try to target him, round 11, maybe round 10. Like that's what I've been thinking. So you think, Are you thinking that even that is still too high?
Yeah, I'm thinking 13th round. At some point, there's not much downside. His current ADP is 1105. So I will not be getting him apparently, unless everyone's afraid of him. So all right, let's talk about our teams here. Maybe Greg Roman would just play running back. Yeah, maybe. I'm kind of surprised by they want to run the ball so much, and yet they just don't have any healthy, good running backs. I just very, very astonishing to me, the strategy. And heading into the season too, the Raiders are number 2 against the run last year. And we're going to run the ball. Okay. Well, the Raiders are just going to shut your offense down. So congratulations. All right. So my team, I started with AJ Brown. I did that experiment where, a Taylor I had ahead of him, and so did I had Gibbs and Kyron Williams. I thought that maybe one of them would come back to me, and that did not happen. So it's a good experiment, I think, but I'm not going to be upset with AJ Brown and Travis Etienne. I'm not super high on Etienne, but I think he's okay. So at AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, like I said, I'm going to be targeting quarterback around 3 if the top 3 guys are available. If they're all gone, then I maybe someone good will fall to me. I don't know. So my running backs are Etienne, Connor, and then I have Hubbard. And then I have a bunch of sleepers and Dowdle, Roshan, Braylon Allen. Maybe one of them will pan out. And so, like, well, running back, I think is not great or anything like that, but I don't think it's terrible. My receivers, I like AJ Brown, Tank Dell, Marquise Brown, Christian Watson. I expect Watson to be healthier this year after he underwent the hamstring stuff. Ricky Pearsall, assuming he doesn't have this shoulder injury everyone's talking about. Yeah, he should be pretty good with Ayuk on. And then Hurts, the quarterback, got to love that. Not used to having a great quarterback. And then Jake Ferguson, tight end. So I like this team. This might be one of the better teams I drafted. The first team I drafted on Tuesday, like, was just a disaster. Or no, it was a week ago today. Yeah, it was just a disaster. But I think this one's better. So do you want to talk about your team?
Yeah, I love my running back room. As I'm looking at the other teams, I think I've got the best running back room on the team in the league here in this draft. Maybe Bagley might have a good argument. I love he's got Chase Brown. I don't like Zamir White. I think he's terrible. I don't like Rashad White. I think he's mediocre. But he's got Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown. That's pretty good. But this is the way I've drafted going back to the late 90s. For a long time, I've drafted this way. I'm always looking for great running back depth. So, in most leagues, you're going to start 2 running backs and a flex. I almost always want to have, running backs that can be in that mix, and then you're going to have bye weeks and injuries. And without a doubt, the hardest position to replace on the waiver wire in your fantasy league is running back. And there's not a close second. It's the hardest position to recover from if you don't have depth. And so that's always my number one priority, is get great depth. And so, Barkley, Mixon, Jones, Warren, and then McLaughlin is who knows. 11th round is probably a little too early for him, but probably okay. So I like that. My receivers are I think will be consistent and decent. Not a lot of upside though. Pickens is going to be stuck with Russell Wilson for a while. Maybe he ends up being the number 2 option there. Mike Evans, good, but again, limited upside. Keenan Allen, good, limited upside. So my receivers don't have great upside. So I don't really have a lot of upside. Tight end, Dallas Goedert, maybe there's upside there, but maybe not. And then at the quarterback position, I don't have great upside. Maybe Justin Herbert's awesome, maybe not. Maybe I'm just end up picking guys up off the waiver wire all year. But at the end of the draft, you still have Matthew Stafford, Will Levis, Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, who is kind of gross, but he's he's available here. In all likelihood, in a real draft, there will be 4 to 7 guys undrafted that you could pick up and stream. And, so if this was a real league, maybe Herbert or Rodgers aren't even on my team by week 3, and I'm just picking guys up every week. Which I'm confident I can do. I'm confident I can do that, and I can stream the position and get 5th or 6th. I think I can stream the position and get the same value as if I had drafted Dak Prescott in round 6 or, Jared Goff in round 8. But I'm doing it by getting guys off the waiver wire. So, so I like this team. I think this is a consistent team. This is a likely playoff team, playoff contender at least. But there's not a lot of upside on this team. There's not a lot of guys that really have the chance to pop. And so that's probably not an ideal way to draft. I probably would go back and make a couple changes here.
Okay. Just to add on what I was saying with Herbert, there is a medical expert on Twitter who's like pretty renowned. Like he's on like 100,000 followers, and like he seems to be trusted in the community. He said that a plantar fascia injury like affects the quarterback all year in terms of mobility and the ability to push off or plant the foot. So and he said that Herbert's gonna be out for a few weeks, and then they're gonna have to slowly ramp him up, but he's gonna be in pain all year. Kind of like Matt Ryan was that one season. I forget, it was like 2010 or 2011. Like Matt Ryan dealt with he had a plantar fascia in the middle of the season. He was out for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then he came back and just wasn't the same. But here's a question then. So are you saying Justin Herbert's going to score 0 fantasy points? No.
He's going to score some. Right, so he's going to score some fantasy points, right?
If he's playing, yeah.
Yeah, well, then is it likely he's going to return fantasy points that are worthy of a 13th round pick?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
I think it's better than 50-50. So that's all. I think sometimes maybe we overreact. Like, maybe he deals with it all year. You're not drafting a guy in the 6th round. Like,
I understand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you're not taking much risk. I know. I'm just saying that like I'm pretty low on the Chargers. I actually bet the Raiders +3 already in week 1. Just I mean that defense versus either an injured quarterback or Easton Stick just seems like an easy win. I think. Hopefully we'll see. I mean, I've thought there have been easy wins before. I'm confused by this quote, this comment, by the way. Young John says, "Ever see The Ringer? That's brother Kenny's team. That means take all the whites. That's who Kenny don't like." I don't know. Is that like a quote from the movie? I'm not quite sure.
I have no idea.
I don't know. The Ringer.
I literally have no idea.
I don't know if I saw The Ringer. I can't remember. Anyway, all right. Let's talk about the other teams. So we're gonna skip or name team 1 who's drafting second, which is a little confusing. BV drafting first. He took McCaffrey, but then he went heavy at other positions. So kind of a hero running back formula here. So he went Drake London, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs, which I know I think you don't like this. I know you don't like London just because, well, first of all, Kirk Cousins may not be 100%. And second, like I feel like this is a little too early for London. Olave, it's like the opposite. Like huge talent, but like no quarterback. And then Stephon Diggs, like we have no idea what we're going to get at Stephon Diggs. I have no clue. I love Sam Laporta. I don't love Dak Prescott. I think he's just okay. I think Dallas is going to regress this year offensively because they lost 2 of their best offensive linemen. And then you have DeAndre Swift, who's very injury prone. Smith and Jigba, I think, could take the next step. I think that's an okay pick, pretty decent. Keon Coleman, I think a little too early for my liking. I would have rather have gone with another young receiver. Brian Thomas, for example, I think would have been a better pick. Elliott, he's just washed up. There's no reason to take him. I like Curtis Samuel. Jerry Jeudy, don't like Gibson. I think it's kind of a wasted non-PPR. And then he took Kirk Cousins. I don't think you need to take a backup like Cousins. And then Pierce, just not good. So I'm not I think there's some things to like about this team, but I'm not a fan overall. What do you think?
Yeah, sorry, BV. Obviously, I like Christian McCaffrey a little more than Walt does. I think it's a fine pick there. Yeah, the heavy receiver here is fine if you get great receivers. Excuse me. But yeah, I don't like Drake London. I just think I don't know. I could be wrong. I think he's just a guy. He's okay. Chris Olave, I think, is great, but the situation is goofy. Who knows? And then Stephon Diggs, I don't know what to do with him. I don't know what to think of him. Maybe he could have been great. Maybe he's going to be great. Maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to know what to do with him because it's hard to know why the Bills moved him and why they went away from him late in the year. So maybe he's washed. Maybe not. I don't know. There's a lot of question marks on this team here, and so I'd be curious about that. DeAndre Swift, we've seen 2 coaching staffs that we think are decent coaching staffs basically just say, yeah, we don't really want to use that guy anymore. Actually, 3 coaching staffs basically say, yeah, DeAndre Swift, that guy, we don't really trust him. So yeah, I think this team, if there's even a few injuries, is going to really struggle to have any production from the running back position, which will basically make this team tank.
Yeah, I mean, Detroit jettisoned him and then drafted a running back in the first round. So I just tell you what they thought about him. So like I said, we're going to skip this second team here because there's obviously on auto draft. Shark Week soon, team number 3. Started strong with Breece Hall, James Cook. I like that duo. Not like James Cook, obviously you'd prefer him in PPR, but whatever. Yeah, Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, Christian Kirk. I think I'm a little worried about Adams because first of all, he could be traded and you don't know where he's going to go. And second, he is like 31 or 32. So there is some risk there. I like Higgins, but he's been going later. Let's see where his ADP is. Maybe I'm wrong. So his ADP is 56 overall, which means that's 508. So at 410, I think it's a little bit of a reach. So, you could have taken him in the 5th round, for example, but then maybe you don't get Christian Kirk. I like Kirk. I know you do as well. He's the number 1 receiver there, assuming that Brian Thomas doesn't take over, which I guess could happen. But I mean, Kirk is, I think, a stud. And Rashee Rice, like 7th round, that's like, where is he going? I feel like that's a reach as well. Rashi Rice, well, maybe not, 85 overall, which is 801. So, yeah, okay, maybe not a reach. But, man, I just feels like, what if he suspended 6 games? Like, suddenly you don't have this guy, and he is the 4th receiver, but still. So I worry about that. Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams, almost back-to-back. It doesn't really make sense. And then taking 2 tight ends. I don't know, like, I don't even like having 2 quarterbacks. Like 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends just really destroys your depth. I feel like you'd be better off drafting sleepers. Yeah, I mean, I think this team had a strong start. I just like it kind of went pretty limp here in the middle rounds and late rounds. I don't know if they were on auto draft at the end, but just I like the Swix pick, for example. And if he didn't draft the tight end earlier, like if he didn't draft Engram and got Cole Kmet here, I'd be like, wow, that's a great steal. And then you could have drafted someone else here in the 9th round, maybe his 4th running back. So I feel like this team is not bad, but it could have been a lot better. What do you think?
Yeah, I mostly like this team, maybe a little more than you do. I don't mind the T Higgins there. Maybe again, I haven't done the ADP a bunch yet. And so maybe over the next week, I'll start to get a better grasp for that. I like the running back depth there. I like Trey Benson. I've heard a lot of great things. I don't watch college football, so I don't know, but I've heard a lot of people talk this guy up. I like Wicks there quite a bit. I agree with you. Evan Ingram, I give a thumbs down too. But Cole Kmet, if he had not drafted Evan Ingram there and had drafted maybe another solid depth piece there and just had Cole Kmet, I probably would love this team. I don't mind the 2 quarterbacks there. I would never do it, but I think it's okay. But again, I'm the guy that doesn't look at quarterbacks around 12 or 13, so I've got a bias built in there. I like this team. I like James Cook. I'm just not as convinced that he's as good as other people think he is. So James Cook here goes late 2nd. I on my rankings, I've got Joe Mixon and Kenneth Walker ranked above James Cook. So. Again, I think my rankings of running backs and how I'm approaching running backs this year seems to be noticeably different than what the rest of the market seems to think, which is okay. It doesn't bother me. I'm confident in my opinions. I wonder how that's going to inform my drafting. So maybe I like this team a little more than you do, except I like Cook. I just don't love him.
Yeah, if this is PPR, I'd feel a lot better about it. Dick and Brian V both think that Drake London's gonna be great this year. So I wonder what you think about that, because you said you don't like Drake London. I think I like him more than you do, but I still don't like him in the 2nd round. I don't know if he's like quite there. I know he's had bad quarterbacking, but again, I'm not sure if Kirk Cousins is the real deal, because he's coming. It's a 36-year-old coming off a torn Achilles. Like, I don't think he's necessarily going to be the guy we saw last year.
Maybe, so, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'd be interested to know what the states. What's the data on quarterbacks coming off Achilles as you looked at running backs?
Yeah,
because we've got 2. We've got Kirk Cousins and we got Aaron Rodgers. So I'd be curious to know what the data of that is. For me, people who want to give Drake London excuses for not having good quarterback play. Like, we've seen it for the last 30 years in the NFL. Great wide receivers, even very good wide receivers, like they know how they are able to overcome bad quarterback play. Now, there's always going to be some limits, of course, but like bad quarterback play doesn't stop you from being a contributor in the NFL. Like, we've seen it over and over and over again. I mean, there are guys in the NFL right now that are producing.
Justin Jefferson last year, for example.
Right, Justin Jefferson. We've seen Deebo Samuel do it. We've seen Chris Olave do it. We've seen DK Metcalf do it. Like, we've seen guys with bad quarterbacks and bad quarterback play in this league overcome that. Keenan Allen, we've seen when he's been with bad quarterbacks in the past. I just the idea that he's been mediocre. Yeah, he's been really inconsistent. Yeah, he's been bad, but it was the bad quarterback or it was the bad system. Like, good players know how to overcome that. They can't. There's a limit to how much they can overcome it, certainly. But what we've seen from Drake London is a guy who's not able to overcome that, and that makes me very concerned. And I think we see that with Kyle Pitts as well. So I would be concerned drafting those guys at this point.
Yeah. In fairness, Pitts had a 1,000-yard season, so it was a lack of touchdowns for him, which I think that could be cured by better quarterbacking, not so much the in between the 20s production
and better scheming, right? If you have a coach that actually knows how to get the guys in the right position, which obviously the Falcons have not had in recent history.
Yeah, they had a guy use Cordell Patterson over Bijan Robinson, so that's what they've had. All right, John Sanders, number 4. So he started with a bunch of no, I was gonna say like a former chief and a current chief. I was reading the wrong team. So yeah, all right, Tyreek Hill, Isaiah Pacheco. I think a strong start. I like Pacheco quite a bit. I read Andy Reid's comments about Pacheco being a third down back suddenly. So I know that you're not a big fan of coach speak in the preseason, but I think like actions are louder than words. And so the fact that they haven't brought back Jared McKinnon, who was the third down back last year, I think that says a lot. Like it just says that they're going to have Pacheco on the field in third down. So I like Pacheco a lot more because he's going to be more involved in the passing game. And so that could just be more touchdowns. So I'm a big fan there. So Hill, Pacheco, very strong to start. Metcalf is, again, one of these third round picks I'm not crazy about. I don't like anyone in the third round. So like Metcalf's fine. I think I'm a little more optimistic on Seattle now that they signed Connor Williams. So, Metcalf's okay there. Lamar Jackson, and he paired him with Zay Flowers, which is I like the pairing there. I just worry about Lamar Jackson's durability. Like 2 of the past 3 seasons, he's not finished the year. And now he's going to be playing behind an offensive line that lost 3 starters. I just really worry about that. Then you have Devin Singletary, just, again, like running back on a bad team, which, Singletary is great last year, but he was playing with CJ Stroud and Nico Collins and Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz. Like there wasn't much attention on him. Like now no one's going to respect Daniel Jones. So I think that there might be a drop in production. Jaden Reed's, I think he's okay, better in PPR. Zach Moss, not sure if he's going to be the starter. Then you have Pitts. McConkey, I like there. What'd you say?
And he sucks.
Zach Moss? Zach Moss, yeah. I like this McConkey pick. It's pretty good. I think Cooks is a waste. I don't think he's going to do anything. I like this Ray Davis sleeper pick. He was someone I had my eye on. I think if he was there between him and Braylon Allen, I don't know who I'd have chosen. I probably would have tried to get both in the 13th and 14th round. I like Ray Davis just because I think he's going to be the goal line back, and he's been looking good in training camp, so I like that. And then the Hawkinson pick, I think there's a lot of potential there. He's not going to play right away, but eventually he will, and he might produce. And then Elijah Mitchell, 15th round, just in case McCaffrey's out. I think that's a good idea. I like some segments of this team. I just worry about Jackson's durability, and if Jackson goes down, there's not another quarterback on this team. And you could pick someone up and you could stream. I've told the story before that I had a quarterback in, was it the year 2019? It was 2019. It was, it was 2020, I think. It was, it's 2019. It was Lamar Jackson's MVP season. It was, I think it was Daniel Jones's rookie year. And I had someone else and they went down. And so I picked up, in the playoffs, I picked up Eli Manning. And he played 2 games. I started Eli Manning, and then I got to the finals. Eli Manning got hurt, and then I started Daniel Jones against Lamar Jackson. And Daniel Jones almost outscored. He almost outscored Lamar Jackson. Oh no, actually, it was the opposite. I think I started Daniel Jones, and Eli Manning in the championship. Eli Manning almost outscored Lamar Jackson because it was such a great matchup. So you could definitely play matchups with your quarterbacks. But I think 4th round's too early for Lamar Jackson given his injury history. So like, what do you think about this team?
Yeah, I think I like elements of it. I like Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is probably the only receiver. Like if Saquon had gone to the 4th spot or a different receiver, if Tyreek Hill was there in 5, I would have seriously had to consider him there. So I like him. I like Isaiah Pacheco. I think I agree with your assessment that he takes a step forward. I do ignore the coach speak, as you said, but I do think Pacheco takes a step forward. Yeah, I like Metcalf there. Maybe it's a little early, maybe, but I think you can make an argument that's good. Lamar Jackson in the 4th is probably fine, but again, I just don't draft quarterbacks early. I don't think it's wise. I don't think it's the best way to draft. I think inevitably you set yourself back no matter who it is. So I'm always going to dog quarterbacks. If you draft a quarterback before round 10, I'm just going to dog it no matter what. Sorry. That's how I roll. Zay Flowers, I love. Devin Singletary, I think it's fine. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Zach Moss is where I think Zach Moss is not a good player, and I think Chase Brown is going to be the primary ball carrier there sooner rather than later. I think he's clearly better. So, I would not be drafting Zach Moss outside of round like 12. Kyle Pitts, Lad McConkey I kind of like. Alexander Madison, I think, sucks. So there's kind of like elements of this team that I'm like, I really like, and then there are other things I'm just like, yeah, fine. So I think this is probably a playoff contending team. With a couple of good moves here or there. There's some decent depth. Well, that's not true. I take that back. If Devin Singletary ends up being worse than we think or is injured, then this team would have some trouble at the running back position. But maybe he's good enough elsewhere to weather that sort of storm.
Yeah, John pointing out that Singletary and Moss are both former Bills, and he's a Bills fan. So I could see that now. Although I like who said Moss is the starter. There's a comment here. Brian B says Moss is the starter. I think technically yes, but I think that there's a chance that Chase Brown takes the job. I think Chase Brown's better. I don't think Zach Moss is that good.
He might be the starter. I don't think that lasts long. I think it's going to be Chase Brown. So if a team like this, I'm going like, okay, if it's not Zach Moss there in the 8th, like let's say who could he have taken instead of that? Like, well, it's there's a lot of question marks. So it's like it's easy to dog on the pick, but then like, well, what would have been the better pick?
Yeah,
there's some slim pickings there. So I also don't totally fault someone. So maybe I'm talking out of the both sides of my mouth here, but it's not good, but it's because the position there is weak, and maybe that's why I like drafting running backs early.
Yeah, I was surprised that he didn't go after Keon Coleman. You talk about guys that can take it in the 8th round. Keon Coleman, Bills, so that would have made sense. So, I like the team. I just I worry about Lamar Jackson's health. So that's
so instead of Jaden Reed, like Jaden Reed in the 7th round, rather than that pick. Jaylen Warren, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson Jr. all go back to back here after that. Like one of those running backs there in that spot instead of Reed would dramatically change the depth of running back on this team. Mm-hmm. And then rather than Kyle Pitts, if he takes a wide receiver there, then his receiver depth is good. So I think that's sort of the thing I would have done there.
Okay. All right. Team number 6, Steel City. I was looking at this team. I don't like it at all. He went 0 running back strategy, and I think he came away with like only 1 running back. Like he went to Chubb in the 6th round, who may not play until November. I like Tony Pollard, but he's going to be sharing the workload with Tajay Spears, and then Gus Edwards is as pedestrian as a guest. I think that's a waste. If you want to take him 12th, 13th round, it's fine. 8th round, that's such a waste, and that's it. That's all he has at running back. I don't quite get the strategy. So his receivers look good at first glance, but then think about it. I mean, Chase is great, but then you look at Brandon Ayuk, like you don't know where he's going. Could go to Pittsburgh and just play with Russell Wilson and just struggle. Or he can go to Cleveland and be the number 2 receiver and maybe do a little bit better than he would at Pittsburgh. But I don't trust Deshaun Watson. Although I will say Jameis Winston, when he takes over for Watson after an injury, then, I mean, we saw what he did with that 5,000-yard season, like 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. I think that's going to be pretty wild. Then Cooper Kupp is 31. I know he's been looking good in training camp, but, he's going to wear down pretty quickly. So this trio of receivers, which like you go receiver 3 picks in a row to start your draft, like you better get some studs. And if Ayuk remained on the Niners, I'd be all in favor of those first 2 picks. But again, you don't know where he's going to go, and then Kupp is aging. Then he took Mahomes and Kelsey. I like this pairing here. I highly incentivize stacking. But Kelsey and again, he's 35, so this is another old player. Just it feels like a lot of old or injured players here. Like you have Kupp, you have Kelsey, you have Chubb. Gus Edwards feels like I know he's not like that old, but he feels like he's a million years old. Cortland Sutton is kind of young, but he has no upside at all. Thielen's another old player. Odell is another old player. Just like this is just like a very old or injured team. I find. Except for Mahomes, I like nothing, and not Chase, obviously. I like nothing about this team. What do you think? You're on mute.
All right, I'm a dummy. I don't know how to use technology. I think I like this team a little bit better than you seem to like it. I get your point. Yeah, I think Jamar Chase is great. If you're going to go now, I'm the anti running back, 0 RB guy. I don't like that strategy. I would never do it. It's not my thing. But I've seen guys do it effectively. There are guys there are some fantasy players that like the 0 RB. That's fine. If you like it and you think you can work it, and get stud receivers early. Then you get Mahomes and Kelsey. Okay, fine. 4th and 5th round is okay. That's fine, I guess. But you got to nail the running backs then, or you got to get guys that have legitimate upside. And there's just no upside here. And so I think that's the issue. So if you're going to go 0 RB, then your last few picks, I think you got to be shooting. You got to go for guys like Jaleel McLaughlin, Rico Dowdle, Rashawn Johnson, Tajay Spears, Chase Brown, like Ray Davis, Khalil Herbert. Like, those are the guys you've got to really be honing in on. You got to get like 5 of those guys in the last 7 rounds if you can, like, or something like that, if you can make it work. So. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a Zach Charbonnet is a kind of guy you want to maybe mix in that. Maybe a Zeke Elliott. I don't know. So yeah, I think that would be the only thing. I don't like the strategy, but if you're going to do the strategy, you got to nail the running backs. I think that's the key there. I am not concerned about Ayuk. I actually think Ayuk maybe could put up better numbers in Pittsburgh because I could see them just totally funneling the offense to him. I could see them just totally, becoming a Ayuk monster type, offense, and to the detriment of Pickens and Jalen Warren and the other guys on that team I like. So, yeah, I don't know for sure, but I have a hunch that if they traded for him, he would. I mean, no, they probably still just they're a mediocre team and miss the playoffs probably, but Ayuk would get a lot of fantasy points and a lot of money. I have a suspicion. I also have a suspicion. What if Cooper Kupp? Everyone seems to think that Cooper Kupp is going to be the second receiver on the Rams. Like the torch has been passed or the baton has been passed, and Puka Nacua is definitely going to be the number 1 guy there. But like, what if Puka's not the number 1 guy? What if Kupp's like fully healthy and like he's ready to go week 1, and like he's back to being 2021 or 2022 version of Kupp, and Puka Nacua is just a great complementary piece or a great number 2 receiver that takes heat off of Kupp, and then Kupp is. Like, do we know for sure that Kupp is not going to be the number 1 guy there? Like, what if he was just injured in 2023? And so, I guess Brian has a crystal ball. Like, I don't know. The last time we saw Kupp healthy, he was still phenomenal. And so, what if, I think Kupp's the guy. I think he's an ultimate swing player. Like, what if Kupp's the kind of guy, if he's healthy and he's great, he could be a league winner if you're taking him in round 3 or 4. So, I don't know. I think this team has some problems, as you said, but maybe there's some bright spots here that are brighter than we've realized.
Well, Brian's from the future, so there you go. I think this is Puka's offense. I would say quickly, thank you, John Sanders. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your continued support.
John's the man.
Yeah, exactly. At 411 super chat, my condolences about your digital card thing. Man, it sucks. Every time I'm thinking I'm thinking this Ajax trade. I'm like, I got to pick up some Ricky Pearsall cards, and then it's like it just hits me. I'm like, no, it's gone. It's gone from us. So it sucks. No pack openings, by the way. This is I think this is going to be the first episode that we have with no pack openings in a very long time, right?
In a year or more.
Yeah, I don't even know. And Sue with the 222 super chat. Pacheco round 2 had to leave the room. Computer picked Henry. Okay. All right. So hold on a second. I'm a little confused here. Okay. Yeah. We're about to do Sue's team deck. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, I was about to say Derrick Henry in the second round. All right, so there's one other comment I wanted to get to here. Let's see. Matthias says, I repeat, you all have to draft people in the 3rd. Well, you can draft quarterbacks in the 3rd. That's my whole thing. Is like all these running backs and receivers are so mediocre here for the most part. Like, why not just take a quarterback? I know you said you're going to dog on people who take a quarterback before round 10, but I think
a quarterback in round 3 ever.
I think this year is the exception. I normally agree with you. You know that we usually have a race to see who's going to take the quarterback last in our leagues every year, and this year is different. I just think that there's this big hole in round 3. They were like all these guys belong in round 4, and I can't take any of them in round 3. I would rather take a quarterback here and just find better players later.
I guess I don't get caught up on the ADP thing or like the value. Just like, I think he just said, whoever that was, like, yeah, you got to I got to take a player, and to me, the best player available I'm going to take, and I just think the best player available is never going to be a quarterback in round 3. So, like to me, like the best player available is never going to be a quarterback until like round 7. Like I just don't like the value there is not there. So to me, like yes, it's like it like okay, I don't like any of these guys in round 3, but I still like them more than a quarterback or tight end. I guess that's why that's how I would put it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not an ADP thing either. It's just like all the guys in round 3. I'm like I'm fine with them round 4, but I don't think they're good enough to go in round 3. I just don't think anyone except for Debo is good enough to go round 3. Although Jalen Waddle, Brian says Jalen Waddle might cook this year. I do like Miami's offense a lot. I will say though that Nuggets brought this up on Tuesday. That Monday. Miami's Week 17 game is at Cleveland. Like, first of all, it's horrible weather, presumably, and second, the best defense in the NFL last year. So I know it's like thinking ahead here, but you know, if you have the Miami players, like you're going to have to deal with that. That's something that you're going to have to come to terms with. That you know, you're not going to get great production out of them in the championship. Now, if you're okay with second place, you know, and hopefully you get lucky with the other players on your team, that's fine. But yeah, that's just something in the back of my head where I'm like, I don't know, man.
There's just so much happens between now and then. I'm not saying it's nothing, but it's almost nothing. There's just so much happens in the course of a long season. It's like, yeah, like I don't know. Maybe you use it as like a really, really tight tiebreaker. Like yeah, if you have someone perfectly rated the same as Waddle, then it's a tiebreaker, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. It's still in the back of my head. It's going to be terrible weather. We know that Tua in terrible weather is usually just not a good thing, like, regardless of defense. But you know, you do expect the Browns to have a great defense. Imagine if Tua could just reach Tyreek. And he says, New York Giants says, I wish I was a Texans fan. Their future's so bright. I got to wear shades. Well, why not just become a Texans fan? And Kenny will vouch, like, yeah, you might want to just stop being a fan of the Giants. So
yeah, that would be an upgrade in many ways in your life.
All right. Team 7 slew. So he said Henry was a mistake. He meant to take Pacheco, which I definitely would like a lot better. Justin Jefferson, great pick to start. Jalen Waddle, he's one of the picks in the 3rd round I like, although, again, you have to worry about Week 17 still. Devontae Smith. So I love this trio receiver. Jefferson, Waddle, Smith. It's very strong. And hypothetically, this is Pacheco and Kamara, and then Brian Robinson Jr. I think that's a great start at running back as well. Quarterback. Yeah, quarterback, 8th round, Jordan Love, solid pick there. I think you could have waited a little bit, slew, maybe 9th, 10th round, got someone comparable. But I think, you know, if you really like no cookie Jordan Love, just take him 8th round. Don Kincaid, I liked him a lot. I think I was considering him with my pick. I took Marquise Brown instead. That was the tight end I was looking at as well. Like I almost pulled the trigger on Kincaid. I think he might have a Travis Kelce 2022 type season because everyone is like, oh, who's going to catch passes on the Bills now with Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis gone? And, you know, Curtis Samuel's there, sure, but he's kind of like the slot guy. You know, on the outside, who's going to catch passes? Is it going to be Shakir? Is it going to be Keenan Coleman? Or what if it's just Kincaid and he just goes nuts this year? I kind of want some shares of Kincaid on my, you know, in my fantasy leagues. So I think that he's a great pick in round 6. I know you don't like tight ends early, but I think that Kincaid is one of those exceptions. I just think he has just immense upside. Jameson Williams, I don't like this pick. Everyone keeps saying this is the year he's finally going to break out, and this never happens. Maybe that finally happens, but I don't know. Adonai Mitchell, I like. Trevor Lawrence. If he didn't take Love there, he just took Lawrence. I think that would have been a great start. And he gets Miami in week 1. That game is going to be like 49-42. It's going to be insane. I'm playing Trevor Lawrence, by the way, Kenny, in DraftKings. In my one single entry lineup, I have Trevor Lawrence stacked with Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. I know you don't like Ingram, but I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a big week 1. Algier, we talked about him earlier. He has great potential. If Bijan goes down, suddenly he's Bijan went down tomorrow. Algier will be a 3rd round pick, and maybe someone I'd get behind in the 3rd round. Bucky Irving, he's looked great in training camp. So I like this team a lot. So with the switch from Henry to Pacheco. So what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I agree. I like this team a lot, Salou. Whether it's Henry or Pacheco in that spot, I like this team. Yeah, and so generally, you got some quarterback depth or running back depth. So I like Kamara there in that spot, Brian Robinson Jr. in that spot, Zach Charbonnet. Like there's some upside here for running backs. There's also potential though that even if it Isaiah Pacheco here, there's a potential here that this running back position ends up not being very productive for him. So there's always a balance between like consistent, high floor production versus upside. So you got great upside here, but like this could also be a potential train wreck if some things go wrong. But the team again strong enough elsewhere where it should be good. Jordan Love is the kind of guy that I think there's real phenomenal upside with him. Like, I think there's a wide range of outcomes with him. I think Jordan Love could end up being like the 8th or 9th fantasy quarterback this year. I also think he could be the number one. Like I think we could wake up, in December and go, wow, Jordan Love has just had a, 4,300 yard, 40 plus touchdown season. And he's the number one quarterback in fantasy. And the Packers are on their way to the 1 seed or competing for the 1 seed. Like I think that's well within the realm of possibility. So while I'm never going to take the quarterback in that spot, I think Jordan Love is the kind of guy that if you're going to violate the no quarterbacks before round 10 rule, Jordan Love is the kind of guy that I would violate it for at that spot in the draft. So, yeah, I think overall this is a good squad.
Yeah. The opposite of that, teammate Jack. Sorry, Jack, if you're watching. I don't like the team, but I like CeeDee Lamb, sure, great. But then you get into the rest of his picks. So Puka Nacua is injured right now. I think he's going to be fine, but it's a slight concern. So I'm not going to dog on this pick. So I think Lamb, Nacua is fine. But then you get to Devon Achane. It's a severe injury risk. You have Malik Neighbors, who's a rookie, 4th round. I think that's a little too early for him. Trey McBride, I don't know. I mean, he had a great run last year, but now they have Marvin Harrison Jr., so his target share is going to go down. So I don't think you're going to get the same production out of him. I do like that he paired him with Kyler Murray, but Murray, like 6th round, I think that's way too early from him. He's never had a full season. He never played a full season in the NFL. Jonathan Brooks is not going to be available until the middle of the season. Xavier Worthy, 4.2, 140, but how's that worked out for the fast 40 guys? Javonte Williams, just looks like he's on the roster bubble. J.K. Dobbins, talked about him. Ty Chandler, I know you don't like him. I like Rashid Shaheed. It's a solid pick here, but Lockett feels like just a guy that you can always get on the waiver wire. He's pretty much done. Foreman could be good, but he's just a backup right now. And then you have your kicker. I don't like the team at all. What do you think?
I probably agree with you. There's one caveat though. I agree. Love the start. Devon Achane, I don't like him. Jonathan Brooks, not going to play. Javonte Williams, not sure about. Like J.K. Dobbins, maybe he's awesome. Maybe he's out of the league, by midseason. Who knows? Ty Chandler sucks. Like this is awful. Sorry, bro. Malik Neighbors, I don't know. Xavier Worthy, I don't know. Rashid Shaheed, maybe. I don't know. Like a lot of I don't knows here. I will say this: Trey McBride. I'm going to go on record and say this. I think there will come a moment in the next year or two where Trey McBride is the best tight end in the NFL. I think he is. I think he's phenomenal. I love watching this guy play. He's everything. He's a slightly shiftier, slightly faster version of Travis Kelce. He's awesome. And I think he's going to be better than Sam Laporta sooner rather than later. So now, does that translate to fantasy success? Maybe not, because the system around him and the team he's playing with may not be great. Who knows? But I actually am. I think I don't know where I'm at on him compared to the rest of the league or the rest of the kind of the fantasy world. But I love Trey McBride. But I hate drafting tight ends before round 9. So I'm a little bit conflicted on that pick.
Fair enough. All right. So team number 10, Dan. So Taylor Amon-Ra's great start. And then Walker, as I said, warming up to him after not liking him because they signed Connor Williams, which is going to really improve the running in there. Amari Cooper, he's 31, but I feel like he's one of those receivers who's going to play well into his mid-30s because he's such a great route runner. Now, then you start getting to these picks. Stevenson, running back on a bad team. Just avoid them, especially in round 5. Now, like if Stevenson falls to like round 9 or 10, which is not going to happen ADP wise, but you never know, then suddenly you're like, okay, maybe I'll take him. But round 5 for a not a great running back. He's okay, but not a great running back on a horrible team. Just I'll pass on that. Mostert, he's always hurt. It's just that, and Miami's not going to run nearly as well this year because they lost Connor Williams. They lost a couple other starting offensive linemen. Robert Hunt's gone. They lost the two best run blockers in the interior. So Miami's running game is not going to be nearly as potent as it was last year. So I would avoid these Miami running backs. Calvin Ridley, I think he's going to quit on the team by midyear. I have a really bad feeling about this pairing here. Godwin, I like in more PPR. I like that he's going to be in the slot this year, and Liam Cohen is the new coordinator for the Buccaneers. He's always had productive slot receivers. So, if you're looking at PPR at Chris Godwin, I like that quite a bit. And in standard, I'm kind of lukewarm on that, but I think it's decent. Addison, he might be suspended with the DUI, and given what happened with Henry Ruggs, they might just someone mentioned in the chat yesterday, they might make an example out of him. I like Jane Daniels. His upsides through the roof with rushing. Odunze, if one of Allen or Moore goes down, it's going to look a lot better. But right now, it just looks okay. Bowers, tight end, is just a fine pick. I think Marshawn Lloyd has potential. So, I like how this team started. I like how this team ended. Some of these middle picks, though, I'm not a fan of. So I think this is like an average team overall. So what do you think?
Dan is proving my point for me very helpfully. Thank you, Dan. Mm-hmm. That you don't necessarily have to hit on every pick, but if you have the right overall approach, your team will still. So I think there are several picks here that we will look and go, those are not great picks in that moment. But because his approach and strategy overall is good, his team still overall looks good. And the approach and strategy is don't take quarterbacks and tight ends early, pound the running back position, and then sprinkle in receivers, a combination of upside and stability. And I think he's kind of done that here. So yeah, I like this team. I think this is a potentially competitive team. Now the things I would have done differently, but I like Kenneth Walker though. I had Kenneth Walker ahead of Devon Achane and ahead of James Cook. I think he's better than both of those guys. Stevenson, I think you're right. You said you would draft him around round 9 or 10. I probably would take him around 7. I like him a lot, but Mostert, I don't want any part of the Miami backfield this year because it's just a mess. I don't know what to do about that situation. And so, I think the guys that went after Mostert in this draft that would have been better, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Jaylen Warren, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson Jr., all those guys I think are better than Mostert. If one of those guys, if you swap out Mostert with one of those guys there, or you swap out Stevenson with one of those guys there, this team, I think, looks significantly better. So I think good approach, right approach, a lot of good picks here, and maybe just 1 or 2 picks away from this team being really good. Last thing on Addison, we've seen over and over again the NFL drags their feet with the suspension stuff. We over and over again. We saw that with the Kamara situation. We saw that with Tom Brady a couple years back. We see that with Zeke Elliott over and over again. The NFL they threaten, and then it's like, oh, it's not. And then it's like a year later before they're actually doing something. So I wonder if Jordan Addison will end up being just an incredible value pick because people are afraid of the DUI suspension, which will probably eventually come. Eventually, he'll get suspended for 4 games or 6 games or something. He'll get suspended for 6 in an appeal and they'll lower it to 3 or whatever. I don't know. But if there's no suspension looming, if there's no off the field issues here, Jordan Addison would have been gone long before the 9th round. And so I think there's some great potential value there.
Yeah, you're right. They do drag their feet. I kind of wonder if Goodell forgets about it. He's too busy burying bodies in his basement or something. And it's like, oh yeah, I got to suspend this guy. I don't know. I think there's a reason why we're banned from the combine. Roger Goodell does not like the what we say about him. All right.
Love Jaden Daniels in the 10th round. In fact, I had him queued up. I was thinking about taking him in that spot. And so, yeah, I almost took him there. Similar to Jordan Love in the 8th round, there's a lot of upside there. Would it be crazy that Jaden Daniels ends up with 8 rushing touchdowns and ends up as QB5? That's in the realm of possibility, right? 10th round, I think is great.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, he could. I love Jane Daniels. If you wait till the double-digit rounds, Jane Daniels is one of my favorite guys to take. All right, let's get to Bagley, Team 11. We have 2 more to go. So he took 4 running backs in the first 5 rounds. They were Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, Rashad White, Zamir White. I know you don't like Zamir White. I don't know what to feel about him. I kind of like lukewarm on him. Like, there's no one else who's going to take his job, so he has at least some security. Like, Alexander Madison sucks. But I'm kind of a little worried about their offensive line. I think it's going to be okay, but we'll see. Rashad White better in PPR than standard, but I think he's okay. I love Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, though, so it's a great start there. And his receivers are Moore, McLaurin. So his third receiver is Khalil Shakir. He didn't take him until the 9th round. I think I would have taken a receiver here instead of Zamir White, just to have more depth at the position. I just don't like the depth at receiver this year. I do like Chase Brown a lot, though. So, like, Chase Brown is a perfectly fine 4th running back. So, again, like, instead of Zamir White, I would have gone somewhere else. George Kittle, I like. What do you take him in the 7th round? I think that's really good value for Kittle, especially if McCaffrey goes down and Ike is traded. Like, suddenly he's going to have more production. He waited until the 11th round to take a quarterback. And I like Tua. Again, week 17 is going to be a problem, but I think this team with a declining defense, like a defense is going to be pretty rough, in rough shape to start the year with Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips on the injury report, on injury reserve, I should say. And I think like they're going to have a lot of like 42-35 games. I think it's going to be insane. So I think Tua is I like him to lead the league in passing yards this year if you can find those props. I think that's a good bet. Xavier Legad, it's just okay. Fine late round pick. BR Strong. I'd rather have Deontay Foreman. I don't know what this pick is all about, but Matt Ariza, kind of love that. I think this, except for the Zamir White pick, like I think if this were a receiver, like if he would have taken McLaurin and then Marquise Brown here, I would have liked this a lot more. I just think that he's thin at receiver. But I do like some of these later on picks, like Shakir, Palmer. They have potential to get potential, but yeah. So what do you think about this team?
Yeah, I think similar thoughts here. Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs is great. Although I like Jahmyr Gibbs more than Williams. I'm actually, I guess I'm going to be lower on Williams than most people because I would take Derrick Henry and Isaiah Pacheco above Williams as well. I like those guys more. Like, I think Kyron Williams is a good 2nd round pick. I wouldn't take him in the 1st round, but that's fine. Williams, Josh Jacobs is good. It's not bad. Rashad White is fine. I think the receiver position here is, if you're going to wait that long to take, like you want to hit, but DJ Moore and Terry McLaurin, I think that could be great. Love Chase Brown. I think it'd be great. Yeah, I think I agree with you. Zamir White sucks, and I don't care who's behind him or who's not there. Zamir White's good. Like by week 7, we're going to be like, oh my gosh. Zamir White is Alec Collins all over again. He is Ruben Drones being drafted in the top 5. He is CJ Anderson being drafted in the top 5 of fantasy. Like, I mean, like these guys that were bums. That like it's the who else is there? Yeah. Zamir White is the prototypical, quintessential. Who else is there? I don't know who else is there, but someone else. They will find some. They will sign your sister off the street and bring her in to take his spot, and she will out snap him in the second half of the year. That dude sucks. Sorry, Bagley. Other than that, this team could be fine.
I still have rough feelings about Zamir White. He cost me $60,000 last year because I stupidly I had James Conner, felt great about it. Then I listened to a DFS podcast before kickoff. They're like, James Conner is going to be the highest owned running back this week. I'm like, all right, maybe I'll swap him out for Zamir White. Yeah, it's a good matchup against Denver. Denver, one of the worst run defenses in the NFL last year. Sure, I'll play Zamir White. And of course, like James Cook goes off against Seattle, and Zamir White just does nothing the entire game. Just like 1 yard gain, 2 yard gain, just like awful. Just like terrible production. So sad, man. I would have won the single entry in DraftKings week 18. Took down 50,000 and took down 10,000 in the main contest. So just man, that is a difference of. It was like I won like $800 in that week instead of 50 grand or 60 grand.
Okay, the names of guys that were drafted in the top first three rounds because they had no one else there. Alex Collins, Myles Gaskins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Isaiah Crowell, Andre Ellington, TJ Yeldon, Royce Freeman, Chase Edmonds, Jeremy Langford. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Thomas Rawls. Guys, who else is their argument is one of the biggest mistakes in fantasy football.
Yep.
Zamir White sucks. They will find a way to replace him.
We went over that. Yeah, we had a whole show about. It was like half the show was about like who else is there. All right. So last but not least, kid no name. So we started off with Jahmyr Gibbs and Garrett Wilson, which I thought I would have got. I'm kind of curious about why I didn't go St. Brown over Garrett Wilson. I have St. Brown ranked higher. No, it's not PPR, but still. Were you gonna say something?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were. All right. So then Josh Allen, third round. I know you don't like quarterback, but again, I think we'll disagree this year. I think this is the round to take quarterbacks. But anyway, so his receivers are Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins, and Deontay Johnson. Then we go to Brian Thomas Jr. I love as a sleeper, and Mooney I like as a sleeper as well. So I like his later round picks. Deontay Johnson would prefer him in PPR, but I think that's okay. I think Collins is going earlier than people should draft him, but this is an exception. I've seen him be drafted late second, early third. He went at 401 here, which is, I think might be appropriate for him. Now, I do love Tank Dell, and Stephon Diggs I think could bounce back. I don't know. They did pay Nico Collins a lot of money, so it's not like I expect them to drop off. I'm just not a big fan of him normally, but 401 I think is acceptable. I know you don't like Najee Harris, and I don't. I like him a little bit more than you do, but I don't love him. Tajay Spears and Jerome Ford, though, I do like these picks here. And Jalen Wright, I mentioned Miami's run blocking being worse, but he, given how injury prone Achane and Mostert both are, like he could be the starting running back. And you look at Dylan Lobby, maybe he's who else is there? Maybe it's Dylan Lobby. And of course, Delaware and Turner Yell. That is the pick of the draft. I think there's a lot to like about this team. I think Josh Allen, Mark Andrews, potentially the top players at their positions, and maybe Jahmyr Gibbs too. So there's a lot to say about that. I'd swap out a couple of picks, and again, I wonder why he went Wilson over St. Brown, but I don't know, maybe he just doesn't like St. Brown. So what are your thoughts on this team?
I have Wilson rated over St. Brown. So I mean,
really?
I think they're really close. I mean, they're both. I mean, I think you can make an argument for either one. Other than the quarterback in the third round, I actually think this team as is will be very competitive in any league, and will be a very good team. So, but I think that if you take that quarterback out and you put a running back there or a receiver, I think the starting lineup is significantly better. Excuse me. I think. So I think I like. I think this team, even with the Josh Allen pick there, I think it's fine. Najee Harris. He's going to get some carries. I would have, who do you take there instead of Najee Harris? I mean, the running backs that went after him are not great. Raheem Mostert and Nick Chubb and Devin Singletary and DeAndre Swift. Like, oh, yuck. So I think maybe I would prefer to have taken a running back instead of Josh Allen and a receiver in the Najee Harris part. But I think even with the Josh Allen pick, in the third round, this team is still very competitive and would be very good, assuming he can stay healthy. Which is obviously always a question mark. Yeah.
Someone's saying Brian V saying St. Brown is a tier above Wilson. And why did he fall to second? Yeah, I don't know. I love St. Brown this year. Like the offense runs through him, and he had a lot of bad luck touchdown wise last year. I think that could come the other way. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I part of the reason why I'd have St. Brown over Wilson is because I just don't trust Aaron Rodgers to stay healthy.
That's the big question mark, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's about it. Let's hold on. Let's open up some packs. Do you want to share your screen first? No, just too soon, Kenny.
It'll be a sad day.
Yeah, it sucks. I always miss that. I love St. Brown. Him and McCaffrey carried last year for me. St. Brown's a stud. Thanks guys for watching and drafting and listening to us, and really appreciate it. Thanks especially to John Sanders for the 411 super chat, and Slew for the 222. Just really appreciate you guys. You guys are so helpful and generous with your support. Just really appreciate it because like I said, YouTube ads pay nothing. So, Kenny, do you have anything to plug before you head out?
No, other than I've been living off of Dayquil, and it's been going great. So well done, Dayquil. They are not a sponsor of this podcast, but they're doing great. But you can check out thecapsfake.com that does not have any sponsors yet.
Okay. Well, maybe Dayquil will be a sponsor. Who knows? They're listening. Dick saying, Kenny, did you check if Sleeper works for you? Because
It worked. I was able
it
to
worked. Okay.
Yep, it did.
All right, so we'll try that tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do a show. There are 2 games on tomorrow at 7:00. So if it was like 7 and 10, if it was staggered that way, we couldn't do a show. We can do a mock draft, but considering that they're both at 7, I'm going to try to watch them consecutive, like at the same time. So going to try to do a show starting at like 10:30, 11. Something like that. I do have to get the write-ups up, but the write-ups won't be too long. So yeah, we're gonna do a draft tomorrow. No show on Saturday because I think there are 10 games on Saturday. It's gonna be a crazy day. But after Thursday, we'll be back on Monday. So yeah, just really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for watching and drafting and everything. And again, thank you to John Sanderson. So yeah, Kenny, glad to have you back on. Wish we had your rant before the Rainmakers payout. I think that would have been one of the classics. But yeah, glad to get your thoughts on that. So yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. I don't know if we're gonna have a guest on tomorrow, but we'll see. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.
You the man, Walt.